Hello. Oh, I'm sitting on it. Okay, y'all, welcome back to the channel. My background has changed. If you are watching on YouTube, my background has temporarily changed. Ever since we moved houses, my setup has just had to keep varying for just different reasons. It's gonna change again, so just whatever, just go with it. Keeps it interesting for you guys. But today we are going through the 6 things that you need to do this year to get your cycle back. Like the 6 most important things. And so this list, when I was trying to figure out what should the first at least YouTube video be of the year, it's not the first podcast episode, but the first YouTube video, what should it be for this year? And of course it should be, what do you need to do this year to get your period back? And of course this year is not really any different to any other year, but we're starting fresh, and now is such a good time to just say, like, look, 2023 is the year. Regardless of when you're watching this, it's still gonna be relevant, but 2023 right now is the year that you're gonna get your period back. And you have an entire 12 months to do so. So this is the 6 things that you need to do. Get a pen and paper out and write these down, because I'm serious. Like, these are the pillars of what Ashley and I believe you need to get done, or you need to tackle in order to recover. We have done these things time and time over with people, with women just like you. These are the fundamentals that will get you to where you're trying to go. So let's just dive straight in. The first thing you need to do and know is to review and understand your food rules and exercise rules. So we call this a food rule and exercise rule audit. You need to audit them. This can be really tricky because these are actually the things that are the crux of your problem in the first place, right? Like, these are actually like the big, like the root cause, if you will. The reason why you've done what you've done to get where you are right now with hypothalamic amenorrhea. So these could range, these could look like a whole lot of things. They can be, you guys are just like way too high. Let's move you down a little bit. Click at this. There we go. Okay, that's better. Okay. Yeah, so you need to know what your food rules and your exercise rules are. Now, these are habits, behaviors, these are even beliefs, and these are even just simple things that you're eating right now or things that you're not eating right now that are, whether it's conscious or unconscious, rules that you carry around with yourself every single day. And maybe you're doing them daily, monthly, weekly, quarterly. You're doing them, and they are rules that actually stop you from taking action or cause you to back off anytime you've made progress or you're about to make progress. So a few of the ways that you can figure out what your food rules are: journaling, right? Like just taking the time to really reflect and observe what you think about food and exercise and how you approach making your meals and things like that. We have a free resource, the Girl Check Your Blindspot checklist. So we just released this. It's totally free. It's a 3-page checklist. You can basically go through it and go through it a few times a year. Maybe go through it every month if you're really trying to get your cycle back, and see what of these behaviors am I still doing. It's a list of mindsets, it's a list of behaviors, and even foods that you are and are not eating. And this isn't going to be a complete food audit for you. It's just a starting off point for you to reflect. It's somewhere where you can just begin figuring out what your rules are. You can get that at the hasociety.com/blindspot. I'll put the link in the notes, but it's just a free resource that might be helpful for you. You need to figure out and understand what the root cause behaviors are, why they're coming up, and what is the rule or the belief that you've created around them. That's the first thing that you need to do. The second thing you need to do this year to get your cycle back is talk with someone knowledgeable about your food, your thought habits, and to help you really kick in the butt those rules and everything that you discovered in that audit in the first one. So it's one thing to figure it out yourself. It's another thing to kick the habits in the butt. So this could look like, talking to someone knowledgeable could simply be talking to someone else going through recovery with you. It could be a therapist. It could be a nutritionist. The only thing to qualify this person right now is that they understand what you're doing and what you're going through in some capacity. Getting help is not always easy, and it's not always super accessible, but just find someone knowledgeable. And this is why we have the podcast and the YouTube channel, because it's a way for us to speak with you and help you figure things out. So at an absolute minimum, keep learning and consuming content from creators that talk about HA, but finding someone knowledgeable to help you work through all of the rules and beliefs that you have discovered is really important. And working through them simply means sometimes just talking about them, just saying them out loud and looking at them for what they are, because those rules and beliefs are just, those habits, they're all just happening. And you're not even observing them and reflecting them and thinking about them and questioning them. So really, you just need to talk to someone who understands what's going on, who is knowledgeable on it, so that you can reflect and really look at these things for what they are, which are unhelpful behaviors. And at an absolute minimum, journal about it, keep listening and watching and learning about this kind of stuff. And at least, join some community, which we'll get to. Little giving away what one of the points is. The third thing that you need to do to get your cycle back this year is getting feedback and accountability on your food and nutrition. So this one and the kind of goes a little bit with the first point, but this is really specific, knowledgeable feedback. It could be a nutritionist, it could be a dietitian, and it probably would be best as a recovery coach. And I know that we're coaches here, and so we're biased to this, but the thing is that a lot of dietitians and nutritionists are actually oftentimes, they're just coming from a different perspective. They're just seeing a lot of the opposite issue in the world, because quite frankly, the thing that most of society's at the forefront of is fighting obesity, and we're just dealing with the opposite issue here, where we need women to eat and to eat more and to balance their blood sugar. And a lot of things that traditional dietitians or nutritionists, a lot of them are still helping you eat less, are still promoting you to eat super lean foods and still promoting you to restrict things. And so they may not have this specialized knowledge is all. So at least find a food practitioner, dietitian, a nutritionist, or a recovery coach who understands what this is about and has training in this kind of thing. This is why we are developing the Holistic HA Practitioner course, just to give this specific information to practitioners or to help more people become recovery coaches, because there needs to be more people that can help women with this type of issue in a very specific, specialized way. So getting feedback and accountability on nutrition can be really tough, because you do need someone who knows what they're looking at. So I understand that, but it was just very hard for me to find a way to work to not have that be a part of this list. It really is one of the most game-changing things, because due to the food rules, due to the habits, due to the preferences, due to the fear, it's just so hard to kind of call yourself out and to even see or know that you're under eating in this or not eating enough protein or not balancing your blood sugar, or you're still like overly portion controlling. Like those things are very difficult to see for yourself and very difficult for someone who is not aware of the common challenges in recovery, like a regular dietitian. It's very hard for them to see that this is not a helpful behavior, because sometimes they teach that kind of behavior. So I know it's tough, but I just really, really believe that recovering, if you have really big hang-ups around food, without accountability and feedback on your nutrition, is going to be really hard. So I hope that you can find that this year. Okay, the fourth thing you need to do to get your cycle back is understanding the mechanisms here. You need to understand HA, that it's not a disease, but that it makes sense that this is happening. You need to understand why blood sugar is important, why stress, why cortisol, why insulin, why these things are playing a role. Because without that knowledge, it's really hard to kick some of the unhelpful beliefs and behaviors to the curb, right? We come across a lot of carb restriction, fat restriction, or fear of eating regularly, or fear of having breakfast, like all of these things. Overconsumption of stimulants, like all kinds of things that really deeply connect to recovery that women have a really hard time ditching, or people have a hard time ditching, because they're not really understanding what's going on under the hood. So taking the time to understand the mechanism behind blood sugar, behind leptin, behind ghrelin, behind insulin, behind cortisol, behind the reproductive hormone system, behind female reproductive anatomy, all of that knowledge is power. I prefer that people spend more time learning about these mechanisms than they do like reading studies specifically about like, oh, this is the body weight that someone was at when they recovered. I think people spend a lot of time digging into the science of like recovery, like how much someone needed to eat or how much exercise was okay for this and that, when really all they need to do is know, like, when things at the baseline, how is the body operating? How are hormones responding to daily stresses? How is the body supposed to run? And understanding that is really what's going to let you actually know what your body's asking for and why your body's asking for it and all that kind of thing. So number 4 is to really understand what's going on under the hood generally with eating and resting and exercising, but also just like how HA works and why it is the way that it is. Okay. The 5th one I alluded to earlier. The 5th thing you need a community. If you're out there, you're just like listening to the podcast, you're listening to all the YouTube videos, which don't get me wrong is a fire thing to be doing right now. And you're like, you know what? I just like don't resonate with all these people, or I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to like get this done and move on. Like, I get it. And I can be that way, but I can't stress to you how many people have been like, I couldn't have done this without like the support and the community and hearing these other people's stories and connecting and being able to share my challenges and my struggles and my wins. Like, I cannot stress to you enough how many times I've heard that. You have to have support. It doesn't have to be online community. I'm just saying I really think that's the most achievable, right? Because the community is already out there ready for you on the internet, whether it be people posting on Instagram, whether it be Facebook groups, whether it be, of course, the HA Society, which we have designed. And I know that there's plenty of free groups out there. I think, I don't have Facebook, but there's plenty of free groups out there to be able to find community of people going through this. We at the HA Society is not free, and so I totally acknowledge that. But the reason it's not is because this is a community we're very protective of. Like, if you're in it, we want you to have skin in the game. We want you to be really making progress. We want you to be sharing with the group and really using the resources. And we spend a lot of time and energy in that group supporting women. So that's why it's not like a free group. But if you're serious about recovery, one of the best things you can do is A, get yourself community, and B, invest in yourself with a bunch of people and knowledgeable people who are, who are serious about this. So finding yourself an online community is definitely one of the things you need to do, but your in-person community is also just as important. So if you haven't shared with friends and family that you trust, that you know will support you, now is the time. Like, you need to enlist your partner, you need to enlist your friends and family, at least in some capacity, so they understand what's going on and so that they can support you. I talk a lot about in other episodes, like enrolling friends and family and like how to enroll them, and what to do when they're being less helpful, they're well-meaning. It can be difficult. So I really do stress that, like, just because you have supportive friends and family, that's so good and so important, but having community of people like online that know about recovery and understand you is really important to supplement with, because your husband and your friends and family who aren't going through this, they don't quite have the empathy. They don't quite understand exactly what you've been through or are going through. And oftentimes they'll also maybe even question and think it's a bit weird because it goes all against their belief system too. They're like, what do you mean you have to gain weight? You're the healthiest person I know. Like, that's really common. So it is crucial to have community that really gets this and understands this deeply. So we would love to have you in the HA Society. Join us there. You can go to the hasociety.com. I know that it's hard to invest in yourself and like make that step, but it really is one of the most impactful things you can do, is to join and have conversations with and come face to face with these people who get it. Okay, the last thing you need to do, if you guys know me well, you'll probably be like, oh, this is so Danny. But yeah, you need to have some metrics to track. And this isn't just, this doesn't mean tracking your body weight or tracking your calories. This means utilizing the fertility awareness method, taking your temperatures and mucus at least periodically for a couple of 2 to 3 weeks, just to see where you're at reproductive hormone activity, metabolic activity wise. Your temperature will show if it's come up, if it's averaging upwards, if it's coming down, if it's not moving, if it's all over the place. This is indicative to us as practitioners to whether or not you're eating enough, whether or not you're super stressed out, if you have any estrogen producing at all. Like, we know this through using the fertility awareness method, even when you don't have a cycle. I have some resources on it. I have a blog using the fertility awareness method for HA. That's on my blog. I'll try to link it below. And then inside of the HA Society, we also have an onboarding course for people to get used to using it as well, so they can track their own metrics. I know it's kind of like, and you don't have to go and do it straight away, and it can be overwhelming, but it is doable. And once you've kind of gone past the initial, like, this is, I don't know how to do this, it will become second nature. It's a very helpful tool, because instead of going from I either have a period or I don't, and I don't know if I'm making progress or not, you now have some signs that we know are directly linked to your reproductive hormonal activity and in general your health. You have some signs and metrics to work off and some goals, like, oh, my temperatures are really low. Okay, I can use that information to set my next step, to have evidence, right? Versus just the stories in your head, to have tangible evidence that shows me that I'm not eating enough, or I am over exercising, or whatever it is. Or I do have a more underlying issue, and it really is something more complex than HA, like, okay, maybe it is, prove it to me, show me your charts. So those are my 6 tips for you guys. That is what we truly believe you need to do to get your cycle back, at any time, but in 2023. And we have actually developed a program with all of these things. The Restore program is a 10-week group and individual one-on-one coaching program. So it's both. You get access to the HA Society, so you're immediately able to connect with other people, get that group support, but we'll also be doing 10 weeks of structured going through your food and exercise audits that I was talking about. So we take you through that and help you figure it out, and then help you work through each of those things. We use like the group program to introduce those concepts to you, and then you have a one-on-one session with us to go through either those things or those food audits, those beliefs and habits that aren't serving you, work through that. Or maybe we'll be talking about nutrition, or maybe we'll be talking about exercise, whatever it specifically is that you need help with, because there are elements of everyone's journey that's individual, which is why you can't just do a group program. You know, like there needs to be that individual element to it. We'll be going through the mechanisms, teaching you about what's going on under the hood, why blood sugar balance is important and how to do it, right? Why insulin is important and how to resolve it, like what the role of leptin and ghrelin are, to help you get that understanding and be like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Of course, I would now eat in this way. So we include all of that. There are 3 food review opportunities to give you that expert feedback on nutrition. So at the beginning, middle, and end, we will be doing a food log with you and sending you a video recording of feedback that goes over all of, you know, what we're seeing, what habits you could work on, or what like food preferences or things you've been avoiding you could reintroduce. And as well, like we'll be checking in with you in the middle and end to see how you're progressing with that, to keep you accountable. So it's not just throwing feedback at you and then like hoping it sticks. You know, we're going to help make sure you're moving forward. So there's the one-on-one check-in, and then there's the 3 food reviews, and then there's 3 email check-ins as well, just to make sure you're moving past any of your sticking points, so that you're really like getting a grasp of all of the things we're going through in the 10-week live coaching program with the group, to make sure like you're having any questions answered, or that you're working through what's difficult for you. So it really is like a group and one-on-one coaching, because we just feel like you can't just do group coaching, but the community aspect and the structured like lessons pieces is really valuable, but you need that element of it. So it's really like a support network, one-on-one program, group coaching program with all of the accountability and all of the knowledge in one. And we're really excited about it. We would love to have you in the group. So enrollment opens on January 10th. And you can join the waitlist, or you can join now if you're seeing this after January 10th at thehasociety.com/restore. Enrollment is only going to be open for a few days, so don't miss out. And we will be doing another batch of this at the very end of the year, but I don't recommend you wait till the end of the year. Like, we want you to have your period back now. And I also want to emphasize how this is going to be a small, intimate group, right? There's probably not going to be more than like 5 people in this group coaching program. So it's going to be small, it's going to be intimate. Ashley and I are both going to be dedicated to helping you make sure you get progress and that you get results. Will you get your period back by the end of 10 weeks? Maybe, but 100% guaranteed you'll have a plan. You'll know how to track progress. You'll know how to and when to make changes to your program, and you'll feel way more supported, way more empowered through this process. So do not let yourself down on this. Do you know what I mean? Like, do not do that thing that we do where we say, oh, I can figure it out. I can do it on my own. And you know, I think oftentimes too, this is a piece of like either cost, like investing in yourself is scary like this because of fear. Right? Because we're fearful that it's not going to work and it's going to be like a big time investment. But really, like, what that fear is fear that like, it's not going to work, but also I don't actually want to do this. You know, like, I don't actually want to recover. I don't actually want to eat more. And that's that's that voice in your head, like the one that got you HA in the first place. So you really need to like look and reflect, like, what is your pushback to really committing to recovery, or really committing to the Restore program, but to committing to recovery, like whatever the thing is, you know, what is actually holding you back? Because it's not money. Because let's be real, you've spent a ton of money in the past on weight loss. And that was a no-brainer for you because you were confident, because you would do anything for it. And this, for some reason, investing in yourself or investing your time or your money or just like committing to the process, this is scary because this is for you and not for everyone else. Like this is a completely a thing you're just doing for yourself. So it's really hard and scary to justify. But there's something that you want. You want your health, you want your baby, maybe. You just want your period because you know it's important, because you want to feel like a woman again. The thing is, that doesn't please everyone else around you. You're afraid, right, that people are going to judge you for eating more, or gaining weight maybe, or whatever it is, right? That stuff, we're gonna tackle that in this program. But you just need to take a breath and realize that like whatever it is that you want to do to recover, but you're afraid to do to recover, that is the path. Like that is what you need to do. This whole avoiding it, staying in limbo, maybe this, maybe that, like I'm not sure, that's not the way this year. 2023, that's not the thing, okay? So I'm not saying you have to join the Restore program. Like, you know, this is a small group program, so we don't have a ton of spots, but whatever the thing is that you know will help you recover, you gotta do it. You can't waste any more time. Like I just love you and I want this for you. So please, for you, not for anyone else, make this happen. Okay, I'm waffling on. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe if you're on YouTube. Please leave us a rating and review if you're on the podcast. I don't know, but I love you guys. Happy New Year. And we will see you next week for another episode. And of course, if you want to join us for the Restore program, please do. The hasociety.com/restore opens January 10th, and we cannot wait to see you in the group.